Hello everyone, John here, your host on the Prepared Mind channel. I've decided to go with a rum and coke for our discussion, just because I thought it would be a good idea. I thought I'd change things up today, and I said to my son, "Hey, what should I talk about today?" And he gave me a heck of an idea. All right, so here we are. Heck of an idea. Thank you, young man. He said, look, let's talk about stupid people in the apocalypse. He used a more derogatory term because he can be a bit inflammatory at times. So, stupid people in the apocalypse. Let's just kind of delve into the subject from a number of different angles. Let's talk about how people operate today. They operate through social media. Right? That is the internet, Twitter, Facebook, memes. They're a bunch of knuckleheads, idiots. That's how they actually live their lives. There's no reality involved. Now, while we go over to Facebook, something really fascinating has come out in the last couple of days. This concept of privacy. It's almost like Americans woke up. Hello? You know, McFly, where have you been? Privacy. We lost it. When? Nearly 20 years ago, when 9/11 happened, and everyone said, you know, we need to know who the terrorists are, and everyone just abandoned their privacy because the Patriot Act came out. What else came out? Social media. Everything you say on the internet, including this video and the fact that you're watching it, is being recorded, cataloged, and sold. We're all being sold down the river because we want to allow our privacy to be non-existent in order to have access to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. We're coerced through social pressure to engage, right, in an activity of giving up our privacy. Facebook is in hot water, and I'm loving to see it. Love to see it. They're in hot water because they're selling your information. They're selling my information. Everything I say. It's incredible. I'm actually now, I swear to Buddha, I swear, conversations I have on my phone. And I'll briefly mention a product. Widgets. I'll talk to a friend and go, hey, you know, I saw this cool widget the other day. You know, we'll get back to that. Widgets are now showing up. Whether it's Verizon or AT&T or Sprint, I don't care who the phone company is. Or is it Google listening through to my phone calls? And they're putting it in advertisements on my computer. Not just at home, not just on my phone, but on my work computer. It's tied us all together. I have no privacy. People go, they say, John, you can't say what you say on YouTube. You can't do videos as the Prepared Mind or as anybody else. You can't even put a bag over your fucking head and anonymously say something because they know exactly who we are. What am I saying? Big Brother knows what's going on. They know how you think. They have psychological profiles set up. And they treat us all like retards. Like we're too stupid to get it. Yeah, we got it, but this world has been sold to us after they convinced us that privacy doesn't matter. They had the 9/11 event. They passed the Patriot Act bonus, the Patriot Act 2, the Patriot Act Plus. They wrote shit into the earlier omnibus. They've done executive orders. Thank you, Mr. Presidents. So that your privacy and mine doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. They're going to screw us up and down and back and forth and in and out. And not only that, but they're going to make money off of it. It's now come out, right? Facebook is making money off of us. And who do we have to thank? Who do you and I have to thank for being exposed as participating dupes, dipshits, retards, dumbasses? Who? Believe it or not, President Trump. I'm going to have to say thank you, Mr. President Donald J. Trump. You've done it again, buddy. Right? You've played this game with these idiots in the mainstream media, in the deep dark state. The powers that be wanted to play this fucking game, and he duped them into it. Now the mind-bending part is, did he accidentally do it, or did he intentionally do it? Because Mr. President is a Twitter guy. And he's going after these knuckleheads, and what happens? Whoops! It finally comes out, and people are finally pissed about it. I've been pissed all along, and I've also known all along that I'm being listened to, monitored, recorded, cataloged, everything else. People go, oh yeah, nobody knows about me. I'm so sneaky and spy-like. No. In fact, today I even saw that VPNs, that is a virtual private network. It's not virtual. It's not private, and it's an open network. The VPNs record who you are, where you're at, and they release it. Whether we know it or not, like it or not, we're being monitored, everyone. When shit hits the fan, there's going to be records on us. The question is, what type of shit? And how big is the fan? Right? If it's going to be Hillary in charge when shit hits the fan, oh yeah. There's a FEMA camp, and there's a cot on it with your name waiting. You lucky devil, you. But if Trump's the president and shit hits the fan, it's a whole nother ballgame. Right? Choose your flavor of shit. Right? Do you want shit light or shit hardcore? We, you, we're just little people. We can try and influence Congress, but Congress just sold us out last week with the omnibus spending bill. Fortunately, Trump goes, yeah, well, I can do or not do whatever I want with that money. Thank you, dipshits in Congress. They've exposed themselves as a bunch of big spending knuckleheads, and the president has a chance to use that financing discretionally, and I hope he does a good job. He can't make everyone happy. He won't make me perfectly happy. I hope you don't expect to be made perfectly happy by the guy, but he's going to do his best. And so far, his best has been better than anyone else. And it could be just giving us false hope. I realize that. Right? I'm not a Trumpster. I don't have my head so far up his ass to kiss it that I can't see that there's other problems in our world. But what we need to understand is he's doing something that no one else has done or even tried to do since JFK. And we know how JFK paid the bill. We know. You know, so to be so close-minded and narrow-minded that we can't look at the bigger picture, that makes you an SHTF dipshit. How many people out there think they know everything and they don't have an open mind? What's going to happen when they get to shit it's the fan? They're going to be blindsided by it. So all I'm saying is I'm doing my best. And I hope you're doing your best. Keep your mind open. Keep it broad. Take in all the information you can. Understand that there's shit going on that we can't see. And I want to blow my own horn here. Here's to John. Been talking about some secret good guys for years. Saying there's good guys and there's bad guys. Right? Here's us. Here's the government. And there's people we can't see or know. And they've been out there the whole time. Fighting for you and me. Fighting for themselves probably. Doing the right thing. While the deep state, which is invisible and up here, we can't really see them. We can just see some of their puppets, like Hillary. And all she is a low-level or mid-level puppet. But there's this war going on. This private war. Principalities and powers. Things we can't see from our front door, or from our automobile, or from our desk at work. Or workstation at work. There's things going on we can't understand. So we need to keep an open mind. We need to battle against this idea that we know everything. And I don't. I know I don't. I do my best. I share ideas with you guys, and I appreciate the opinions you give back. In fact, we're going to have a lot more fun. This Saturday, we're going to do a live broadcast on Patreon for you guys only. I'll do my weekly wrap-up as usual, and that'll go out on YouTube and Patreon, but I'm going to do a live broadcast with you guys and the Prepared Mother, Jolene, site administrator for Patreon, for the Facebook, The Prepared Mind, for the everything we do, including the www.preparedmind, thepreparedmind.club. She's doing all kinds of crap. We're expanding this, and we're trying to keep our horizons broad. When shit hits the fan, we need to be ready. We need to have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We need to have a plan. We need to have all that stuff. But it's important to know that there's some exciting, crazy, wild shit going on. Right? And I don't want to cover it like the weekly wrap-up, but it's coming. It's coming right now. Okay. So to get back to kind of the theme of the videos, don't be a dumbass. And I have to tell myself that often. John, you don't know everything. So how do we get away from this close-mindedness, dumbass mentality? We have to look out, and we have to see things not through prejudiced vision. Try and understand there's other perspectives. And I have a friend that I talk to often that has a perspective that's so unique, and it's almost difficult for me to understand because it comes from a world not like mine. And I don't agree with it all. In fact, I don't agree with a lot of it, but it helps me think and stretch. Right? When shit hits the fan, are we going to know the truth? The answer is no. We're going to come at it relatively blind, but we're going to get clues. We're going to get indicators. We're going to get some information. Right? We're going to have it from ourselves. We're going to get it from television. We're going to get it from the radio. Hopefully the internet. We're going to get it from other people. When shit hits the fan, it's going to be a bizarre world indeed. There's going to be a lot of question marks. Do we really know, or are we guessing? Is this the real shit hits the fan, or is this a shit hits the fan light? Right? Is the government in charge anymore, or are we on our own? You know, unfortunately, we're going to approach a very complex subject from a point of ignorance. Now, what's really important to note is the perspective from which you and I look at it, approach it. It's going to be one of ignorance. But compared to those who don't know a thing, we're going to be extremely enlightened, relatively speaking. You know, I can't help but point back to all these idiotic, underdeveloped, illogical children out there who think they know. Like the David Hogg, the Our Kids Matter hashtag bullshit guy. You know, in fact, I looked at, there's one of these kids that supposedly survived the thing, and she's got her head shaved. She looks like a militant feminist, and I have absolutely no respect or appreciation or regard for militant feminists. She's also wearing clothing, and oftentimes, I've noticed, she's wearing on a sleeve a patch. It's a Cuban patch. What is Cuba? In relation to the perspective from which these people speak, that patch represents communism. That's right, Cuba's communist. Who was there? Fidel Castro. Interestingly, Fidel Castro outlived everyone else who wanted to kill him for the past 50 years, and he made it. Kudos to you, Fidel. But guess what? Who else was part of that regime? Che Guevara. Hero of communists everywhere, and Marxists everywhere, and Leninists everywhere. If there was ever a breath of air that was drawn by a communist, during the exhale, the name Che Guevara probably came out of their mouth at least 500 dozen times. Right? He was a murdering thug. from Cuba. Yet, here we have this cute little girl saying everyone needs to give their guns up. They don't understand. Right? This is a perspective of stupidity. She's wearing the patch of blatant stupidity and indoctrination. What we need to understand is that that's the mentality that's going to come at us when shit hits the fan. As blind, as narrow-sighted, as ignorant as me and you and everyone else is, when shit hits the fan, we're gonna be in the dark, right? Whether it's only for a week or 4 weeks, 8 weeks, a year, whatever the length of time it is, whether it's Captain Caveman or whether it's shit hits the fan light. And as dim as we are as individuals, at least as preppers, we're prepared with all of those items I talk about. But these dimwits out there, they're going to be agents of ignorance, stupidity, and violence. I don't want anyone to underestimate the need to be prepared. I also don't want anyone, including myself, to fall prey to the concept that Trump is a savior and that his planning, his strategy, his care and his devotion is going to save us. I don't view him that way. I just view him as an interesting, very strategic, intelligent agent who appears to be operating on the side of goodness, which is allied to me because he's opposing evil and darkness. But that doesn't make him Savior. It doesn't mean that he's been anointed by God. It doesn't mean that we're out of this. It doesn't mean we're going to get out of the woods before the fire consumes the forest. Knowing that, we need to understand we're ignorant to a degree, but we don't need to, suffer in squalor and darkness. We need to understand who and what Trump is, what he's trying to do. And we also need to continue to be responsible. I have heard a lot of people say, well, Trump's got this well in hand, so I don't need to pay any attention anymore. And I thought that type of apathy is what got us here in the first place. Shame on you, dipshit. Right? We're not out of the woods. I don't care how confident Trump is. I don't care how confident QAnon is and people that follow QAnon. I enjoy the QAnon stuff. It's got a lot of great insight, a lot of good info. Shows us what's being done to fight. But there's a critical element here that I think that none of us as preppers should ever forget. Maybe Tea Party people can forget. Maybe NRA people can forget. Maybe Republicans can forget. But I'm not going to forget the absolute threat, risk, and danger represented by the dark state. And again, I call it the dark state like it's the dark side of the force. Call it the deep state, the powers that be, the Illuminati, the New World Order, fascist corporate globalists. How's that? They're willing to go all the way over this. Their lower level people are being hammered right now. Those people are going to roll over, squeal like stuck pigs on the mid-level people, which is the Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, James Comey type people. And ultimately, those people are not going to fall on their swords, but they will. They will reveal who pulls their strings. That is those people who are just out of our sight. But they're real people. They breathe oxygen, and they need to be held responsible. But here's what you and I need to understand, is regardless of whether or not we think they need to be held responsible, they don't. They are elitist, technocratic, oligarchical, aristocratic, pseudo-royal pricks. And they would rather see you dead than them spend a day in jail. We need to understand that as preppers, we have to be ready. We can't fall into a lapse of ignorance and underestimate their power. They've been trying to start war in Syria, North Korea, and Afghanistan/Iran. Right? They want it all. They want this war. But guess what's happened? I'm going to point back to El Presidente, Mr. Trump. Kudos again to Mr. Trump. No war. In fact, de-escalation. And while many people want to see it faster, I'm happy to see that we're not sending troops into North Korea. I'm happy we're not engaged in war with Russia and the Ukraine and Eastern Europe. I'm happy to say that we're not embroiled in a shooting war in Syria. All of those things were a massive potential when Trump took office. And he talked up a storm, yaka, yaka, yaka. And guess what? Nothing. Terrific. So my fear is that if the powers that be, these bad guys, these assholes on high, can't get a war started internationally, that they'll start one here in America domestically. That's right. How dare you, you pissant peasant. This guy right here. You. How dare you oppose their might, what they assume as their divine right to rule, right? Their chosenness, their place amongst the stars to rule you, you filthy peasant. How dare you elect someone like President Trump to oppose them? And how dare President Trump fuck their plans up? So what are they going to do? What do they have the potential to do? They can cause shit to hit the fan. And absolutely, without a doubt, fuck our entire world up. Our infrastructure in the United States is weaker than that in Russia. Russia, the electrical grid is broken into small chunks. In America, it's one big thing, maybe two. But it can be taken out. Absolute total darkness and chaos for America because we absolutely depend on electricity. Knowing that, that is an Achilles heel. But if you notice, on every human being who's of sound mind and sound body, we have two Achilles heels. What's our second? If it's not our reliance on electricity, it's our reliance on the internet. Closely associated, it's electronic. Our world runs on the use of the internet and interconnected electronic communications. You bring that down, and the whole system is fucking dead in the water. That's two massively critical ways that this country requires us to have in operation to maintain our infrastructure. I'm not even talking about roads, bridges, shipping, trucking, trains, food production, distribution, fuel. I'm not even talking about that stuff, which is in itself massively critical. I'm talking about two simple things which are so vulnerable that it pains me to talk about them, because I think some terrorist prick might actually listen to me and do something negative. It's not like I'm the only one who knows this, by the way. Everybody who should know this. You bring down the internet, and guess what? You're not going to get a paycheck. Automated systems don't work anywhere. The government is defunct. Your credit, as in your bank, it's toast. You can't buy a gallon of gas or a gallon of milk. You can't buy a loaf of bread. Nothing. We're toast. So we can't be ignorant fools about what's going on. We can't put all of our eggs in the Trump basket and believe he's going to fix and solve the problems. We can hope he does. We can hope he's successful to the greatest degree possible. But we can't put all our eggs in that basket. We have to understand that we're just ignorant, small, little people, and that bigger things are capable of bringing us down. And so that's why we're preppers. Food, shelter, water, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Go to the preparedmind.club, C-L-U-B. There's so much good information there now. It's growing all the time. It's amazing. It's videos. It's shopping. It's blog. It's Prepper Connect. It has everything that you need, that I can think of, that we can do with the funding we get through the sales. That's what funds that channel or that internet website. It's you guys shopping there. And all that sales go through internet, goes to Amazon, right? And they pay us commission for those sales, and that funds your websites. That's what funds us. So you guys take advantage of that resource. I have to say, and I have to laugh my ass off, by the way, and here I am again. I'm going to blow my own horn again. Right? Months before all this shit happened, I said, look, we're getting away from YouTube and relying on them. Now, we still use them a little bit. Right? This is my way of needling them back. But I can use anyone to host these videos. Any company to host these videos, including our own servers, to get you and keep things going on Patreon if YouTube kills us. But months ahead of time, I saw it coming. And I had people helping me out, by the way. Saw it coming and left YouTube and came to Patreon, which is where you're at now. I was like, okay, great. We're going to be huge on Patreon, and we're just this tiny little thing. But still, you guys are here, and you're supporting the machine, the prepper machine, right? We are fighting ignorance, you and me. And I want to thank you for everything. Thank you for your support. Support financially, support emotionally, psychologically, however you want to put it. Right? I'm not pissing my time away here is how I feel about it. We're reaching more people all the time, just as Trump is doing his job and other good guys are doing their job, but you and me, we have our job to do. And that is to avoid the pitfalls of stupidity, ignorance, that the rest of the world seems oblivious to. We had the stock market drop to negative 468 today. At least that's where I saw the bottom when my app, my program, shut off for 5 fucking minutes, so I couldn't see how far it fell. And when it came back on 5 minutes later, it was back at only negative 340 or 360, whatever it was. It went back into the 400s, then finished like 350 down, 340. It was high. It was hundreds high. So the difference between the ultimate high and the ultimate low today was somewhere around 800-900 points. The stock market is a wreck, folks. It's up, it's down. They don't fucking know. They're throwing money at it through the Exchange Stabilization Fund. They're throwing money at it right through the central bank, through QE programs that they're not telling us exist, yet there's evidence it exists. You wouldn't believe the amount of capital it would take today to make the bond market drop the way it did, like a fucking stone. It should be well above 3% because they raised the Fed rate, the percentage rate. However, since they did that, makes it more expensive for you to buy things, but the federal government is actually operating at a cheaper rate. It makes no sense. Everybody pays to play. But apparently, the government doesn't have to pay. By the way, that's your money they're screwing around with. So here we are. Don't be ignorant. Understand we have multiple layers, multiple games being played. And all you and I can do is look at what we have in our hands. Do we have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Right? Because ultimately, we're nobody. We're just pawns. We have ourselves, our family, our community, our prepper groups. We have our understanding of the Constitution. We have our religious credo. We have ourselves and our lives. We have a 10-mile radius that we operate in. And that's what we've got. And then on our side, we've got chance. Because chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed, Semper Fi, and I'll talk to you again soon.